Hello, Namaskar viewers. I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to this week's edition of the Business Talk with Ajay. This weekly show brings you all the latest business related stories from around the world for your knowledge and for your reference. The show is brought to you by SAI CPA Services, a complete full-fledged and one of the most popular accounting firms with multiple locations in the state of New Jersey. They can help you with your personal taxes, corporate taxes. If you are an owner of a small business, mid-sized business, or even a large business, they've been helping clients since last 25 years. You need to reach out to them 908-380-6876 for any taxation needs that you need to have, or visit their website saicpaservices.com. With that note, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ajay Kumar of SAI CPA Services, CPA, MBA himself, with over 25 years of experience. Good to have you.
Thank you, Sanjeevji. Thank you for the kind introduction.
Sure, thank you. You're very welcome. Now let's talk about, we always bring in the stock news first, Dow Jones Industrial Average.
Absolutely. So Dow Jones has been acting weird recently. One day is up, one day is down, but now for last 5 days, it's been consistently going up, which is a good sign for the economy. Stock market going up, meaning more people have confidence in the economy of this country. With the current interest rate, if the economy keeps growing the way it's growing, that's when the interest rate needs to be increased to bring it down, to bring the enthusiasm, to bring the inflation down. So next story we'll have is the interest rate story, Sanjeevji. So the prime rate is at its highest peak that it has been in last 22 years.
Correct.
So if we look at the Jerome Powell's last week's announcement, Mr. Powell feels the economy is shrinking but not at the fast enough pace. So what it means is they may still increase the rate, they may not, they may choose to keep it at the same level in the next meeting that's planned for September 19th and September 20th. They may plan to not change the rate, but there may be a rate increase of 25 basis points.
Yes.
What we can say for sure, the rate is not going down in the near future.
Well, I have a feeling, my personal opinion is, after reading several stories and Fed Chairman Powell, he really has a way of talking with his words.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
my opinion is they're going to raise interest rate by 25 basis points, and that should be the last rate increase.
You are 100% right. The way Mr. Powell goes out of his way to hint to the economy, you can't be sure about it. But we know it may increase. If it does, it's going to be a maximum of 25 basis point. It may not increase, it may remain same, but we know that it's not going down, at least in the near future.
And the stock market is a barometer of what exactly is happening. Even the stock market doesn't give you an entire picture of economy really good or really bad, but stock market is a barometer because it's a psychological thing.
Absolutely.
When stock market is up, when Dow Jones is up, Nasdaq is up, S&P 500 up, your 401k is looking better, everyone thinks economy is doing good. And now that leads me to a story. They say Dow got a boost from Salesforce. Shares advanced more than 5% after this software company announced fiscal second quarter results and the third quarter guidance just earlier in the week, and which exceeded analysts' expectations.
You're right. So Dow Jones is an average of n number of companies. So when you have one company growing at 5%, and that to a large company, it sort of distorts the average for you. So let's say 100 companies went down, but one company went up abruptly, proportionally. It may look that the market is doing well, even though you know there are only few companies that did well as opposed to majority of the company doing well. So you have to look at not just the average, one step further to see what's bringing the average up or down.
Okay, very well. Now let's continue with this stock market story. Not exactly this, about the stocks, but how stock market reacts to certain things. That is, interesting. One of the articles that I came across in the world of business is that, stock market responded very well earlier in the week. On Wednesday, it really did very well. And then Thursday was a little bit off because United States GDP, gross domestic product, was revised from 2.4% to 2.1%. Wall Street took that news in a positive way.
And you think about it, take a step back. On one hand, we are revising the GDP down, gross domestic production down from 2.4% to 2.1%, and even then market is acting positively. What does it tell you? The market, or the people who forecast the market, they were expecting GDP to be even further below than 2.1. When they saw the new forecast is only bringing it down by 0.3%, they were happy that it's not as much down as they initially expected.
Yeah.
And that created a positive vibe to the whole market.
That is interesting.
Absolutely,
Normally when
absolutely.
GDP goes up, then things get better.
It's not about up or down.
Yes.
It's more about compared to what we expected. If the GDP is increasing 3%, but
Right.
we expected it to increase 3.5%. Even though GDP is increasing 3%, sometimes you see the market is going down.
Absolutely. Okay, good. Good point. Now let's continue with that. Then how stock market and GDP affects economy and how economy responds to it, or vice versa. U.S. job openings fell for a third straight month in month of July. As the labor market gradually slowed, but conditions remain very tight. We're going to see next week. I think we're going to have information about August job opening report. But this is the July one, and again, it's all depends upon the federal interest rate. See which way it's going to go. Job openings, according to Labor Department, dropped 338,000 to 8.827 million on the last day of July, the lowest level since March 21.
So you have to see, since March 21 in last 2 years, if you add the PPP, EIDL loan, ERTC, all these loans and the grants that the small businesses were getting, a lot of small businesses were cash flooded. Now everybody is cash crunched. The money that they got has already been used up. New business is not coming, new cash is not coming, loans are very difficult. Interest rate is so high, getting money from the bank is next to impossible now. That creates a cash situation where you cannot afford to hire new employees. Everybody is thinking about letting people go, cutting the hours. That's creating a labor shortage that's very difficult in the market today.
Talk about labor shortage. Let me just bring this fact to you that the labor market has been very resilient.
Yep.
In spite of 525 points increase in interest rates in the last how many?
Year and a half. I mean, if you think about it,
exactly.
I mean, from last year we used to be at 3%.
This March 22, as of March 22, right? And it was all because of COVID pandemic and everything. But the unemployment rate is hovering around 50-year low.
You are 100% right, but the money was flooded in the market. A lot of money came in last year as well, in the ERTC, in the EIDL loan. Small businesses got up to $2 million in the EIDL loan. Once you get the money, you don't use up the money immediately. You have 6 months, year, 2 years to use up this money.
Correct.
And now at this point of time, towards the end of 2023, a lot of small businesses ran out of the cash.
Yep.
That's what's creating a crunch, a special pressure on this job market.
And with that note, I'd just like to add one more thing, very in a brief, that mortgage rates are high.
Yeah.
But home sales is picking up. Month of July showed a slight increase, just a slight increase. But that slight increase could be, a window of a hope that, going
You're
forward,
right.
it will increase a little bit. But again, when we're going to be hitting October, November very soon, then it's going to slow down. But, it shows that people have money, they have jobs, and they are willing to buy homes.
People who have job or a stable job to say they are still buying home. And you have to also remember this summer is little longer than what you typically expect. So this year we'll see a lot of home sales in August, September. But once the October starts, once the schooling year starts, the home sale starts to fall down, and then suddenly they will pick up in March, April.
Yeah,
so there is 3-4 months of downtime we see in the mortgage market.
Because home sales is, for some reason it's always because of schools. That people
That's a big
move
factor.
in, families move in because of children's school and the future, A significant portion of home sales is decided because of schools.
And in summer, a lot of people feel it's easier to move around.
Yes.
As opposed to winter,
absolutely.
where the days are shorter and it's very difficult to be moving things around.
Absolutely. All right. So now quickly, while we do the things and everything, we order everything online. Amazon has come up with something very interesting, which AJ will touch upon.
Absolutely. So if you remember, Amazon never charged for returning the item. You could buy 3 pants, 4 shirts, and you could return as much as you want. If you remember Amazon Wardrobe, now Amazon is coming up with a new fees. If you want to return something, as long as you take it to the UPS store, they are not going to pick it up from your location. If they pick up, the fees is higher. If you are dropping off the item, they are charging $1 fees per shipment. So this is seen, it's not about a dollar. This is seen as a new trend with the tight market, with the tight bottom line that every corporation is feeling. Is this going to be a start of the new fees that not just Amazon, everybody else, I mean Walmart, every other big store that you see has free return. In that case, once Amazon, a major web giant, starts taking the fees, it could be the start of the fee period going forward by the other vendors as well.
Absolutely. So there we go. Now, this is not for the Amazon Prime customers. This is for the regular Amazon customers.
For everybody.
For everybody.
Everybody.
Including Amazon Prime.
No, Amazon Prime is more about when you buy something.
Correct.
You get free shipment.
Free shipment.
This
yes.
is more about returning the item.
Correct.
So when you're returning something, they want to charge you $1.
So everybody will have to pay.
And that too when you're taking the stuff to their shop.
Yeah.
To the UPS store.
To the UPS store.
If they're picking it up from your location, there may be more fees.
Oh, okay. All right. Which, I mean, listen, cost is rising everywhere, so dollar is not that bad.
It's not about a dollar. It's more about, is this going to be a new trend? Is this going to be a start where everybody will charge something for everything?
Yeah.
Now we live in a country where you can buy anything from Walmart, Amazon. You can go back, return it in 3 months, and there is no question asked.
All right. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that to pay this extra dollar, because you buy a lot of stuff from Amazon, right? People do that, and to pay this extra dollar, the things are not right, and you want to return it. You need to work harder. If you need to work harder, that means you may want to work overtime. And if you want to work overtime, U.S. President Joe Biden has a message for you.
Absolutely. So if you are one of those people who are working overtime, more than 40 hours is considered as overtime, you are entitled to time and half and overtime pay, especially if you are making less than $55,000. $55,000 is a lot of money in this country. That roughly estimates $27, $28 an hour. If you find yourself in one of those situations where you are making less money and you are working more than 40 hours, just remember, you may be entitled to an overpayment.
Now, this is a rule imposed by Biden administration.
This is a benefit
Yes.
given by Biden administration, is being applauded by a lot of people, a lot of new voters, a lot of young voters, a lot of people who are making less money, as seen as a benefit that they will be getting.
But the Congress hasn't signed up on it. This
Not
is the
yet.
proposal.
This is just a proposal.
So restaurant managers, store supervisors, and the millions of other salaried workers. If they work overtime, then obviously they are eligible for time and a half pay, and that should happen. And then that should help millions of workers.
We are estimating 3.6 million people benefited by this new plan.
There you go. All right, with that note, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, in the first break, we talk about US GDP, but in the second half, we're going to talk about India's GDP, and that's a very exciting news for you. It's all coming up after this messages. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the second half of the Business Talk with Ajay, right here on ITV Gold. And in case if you are the first time viewer joining us, join the club, because this is the weekly show, comes on your favorite TV channel, that's ITV Gold, and we bring the business news from around the world to update you. And perhaps, as AJ always says, the story that you may have missed, we try to cover that story for you in this show. Once again, show is brought to you by SAI CPA services and CPA services. Of course, you can figure it out. They are the CPA. They have on-hand trained and experienced CPAs who can guide you for any taxation matter. Besides that, they can also advise you and guide you what kind of company that you need to set up, and the investment advice. Right now we are in the month of September. Year is going to go fast. Where should you park your money to save taxes? Because SAI CPA services, their motto is to do your taxes right for everybody, and that's what SAI CPA services is all about. Multiple locations in the state of New Jersey, but they can be reached by one phone call, and of course Zoom call is possible, live conversation possible, personal meeting is possible. The number is 908-380-6876. While I just talked about SAI CPA services and the accounting and taxes, why not we get some tax information from Mr. AJ?
Absolutely. So first, let's talk about the hurricane that we have going on in the Florida area, Italia. So everybody who is affected with that hurricane, and you have to look at the county website. If you are in one of the affected area, you have up until February 15 to file your taxes. Please understand, for all small businesses, LLC, S corporation, tax filing deadline is September 15th. For all the personal taxes, the tax filing deadline is October 15th if you file the extension prior in March, April. But if you are one of the affected people with this Hurricane Idalia, you have till February 15th of next year, February 15, 2024, to file the taxes.
Okay, interesting. Speaking of Hurricane Idalia, right? The price tag could be $20 billion. This is the early estimate, $20 billion. But it's a good point, a good note that you brought it up there about the tax accession a deadline, tax filing a deadline. Okay, so now what's IRS flag this tax returns for ID theft?
Well, yes, absolutely. Let's talk about the ID theft. So whenever somebody is getting a large refund or unusual refund or too early, let's say based on your history, you have always filed your taxes on April 15th, and now suddenly we see your tax filed on January 31st, meaning technically the first day of filing the taxes. Such tax returns are flagged for ID theft. Somebody else may have filed the taxes on your behalf to get the refund that you should be getting. So every year, about 1%, about 2.5 million, more than 2 million tax returns are flagged. And what it means is IRS will send you a letter, we got your return, we accept your refund claim, but please call us so we can verify your identity. It's a simple call, simple process, no paperwork, but unless you call IRS, they will not release your refund. So a lot of people get this notice, they keep it in the file, they never call, they don't show it to anybody, or they just ignore it, and now they keep wondering. A lot of people don't even know that they never received the IRS refund. And they keep wondering, why did they not receive the IRS refund? So there is a specific ID protection phone number that you are supposed to call. It's an automatic number. You call them, they will ask for the social security number, date of birth. Sometimes, depending on your situation, they may transfer the call to an IRS agent. But every year, about 2.5 million tax returns are flagged for ID theft. If you are one of them, please do not ignore the notice. Make sure you respond, make sure you call the number. And if you use professional help to do your taxes, let them handle this for you. Give them a copy of the notice and they will be happy to help you for it.
All right, so that's a really good point to know. Now, IRS exempt most state tax returns, some other payments from tax.
Absolutely. So the way the system works, if you owe taxes with a state, let's say if you owe taxes with New Jersey and you are expecting a refund with IRS, then legally, instead of giving the money to you, IRS will pay this money to the state of New Jersey on your behalf. So if you owe money to any of the state, and that money is shown as a liability, as a judgment on your file, the state has the right to send that information, send that file to IRS, to other agencies, where if you have a refund coming from any other agency, in that case, you won't get the refund will be given to the state directly, and if you have more refund, then you only get the difference, or you get a letter, we did not pay you your refund because we paid this refund on your behalf to this state.
All right, very good. Now let's bring in the news from India. As I mentioned earlier that there's going to be good news about India's GDP. India's resilient economy has responded so well in a quarter of April, May, June, the second quarter of the year 2023. And, the GDP growth accelerated to a 4-quarter high of 7.8% from a year ago.
That's amazing. India is the fastest growing country. Consider a population. India is probably number one right now in terms of population, running a country and growing this country. So I'm not into any political party, but what we see in India is what we have not seen in the past. So if you look at the last quarter results and you do the annual growth, 7.8%. US economy grew 2.1%. They reduced the GDP forecast from 2.4% to 2.1%.
Right.
On the same hand, India's economy is growing at 7.8%.
And at the same time, a year ago, it was 6.1%. So see the growth?
See the difference.
Yes.
It's consistent growth and increasing.
Yes.
for a country such as India, this large country taking everybody together and growing faster than some of the developed countries.
Exactly. This is incredible news, and this news has actually been taken very positively by mainstream media as well.
Absolutely, CNN and everybody else.
Last week it was a response to India's successful mission Chandrayaan on the south side of moon, right? And now this story that India's economy is growing faster than expected. This is a really incredible story, and now India is getting ready to send a space shuttle on Sun.
Absolutely.
So that is going to be happening. We'll bring you more information next week. Now, let's talk about sports. Are you all ready for Asia Cup? Asia Cup has already begun. And by the time you watch this show, I guess, obviously, sometimes because we also have some repeat episodes. So the first episode that you're going to see is before India versus Pakistan. And then second or third episode, you will see by then India versus Pakistan game must have been played, and they are going to be playing in Sri Lanka. This is a very high-powered, the most anticipated game of Asia Cup.
Absolutely. So if you haven't seen an invite yet for Saturday morning at 5:30 a.m., you are missing something. So in the first Asia Cup match, you have seen Pakistan beating Nepal out of the game completely. In the second match, we saw Sri Lanka doing very well compared to Bangladesh. Against Bangladesh.
Come on, it was in Nepal. Pakistan
well,
versus
it's
Nepal.
Still,
come on,
But 430 something and 104, I mean, the difference was pretty good. So Pakistan did very well. Sri Lanka did very well, and we are hoping India to do better on Saturday. Pakistan has a very good, very strong team this year.
I believe they have very, very good players.
Absolutely.
Very good. And this is a 50-over tournament, but Pakistan is really good in a 20-over tournament. But of course, our Indian players, they have been rested very well, and they are all set. They are all prepared. Let's just hope that whichever is the best team wins. Let's put it that way, right?
And India is playing their top 11. India is not playing the second-tier team or the third-tier team that we had earlier with Ireland or other countries.
Ireland was just a test level. So they really took some young players just to test them out and keep them ready as a backup, because after Asia Cup, India is going to be focusing on a World Cup.
The World Cup
World Cup, ODI World Cup, which is going to be played in India. So that's what their focus is. But this Asia Cup definitely will sure give them some kind of momentum if they perform well for the ODI World Cup. And ODI World Cup, they have to play better.
Absolutely.
All right. On the movies front, of course, Barbie continues to do well here in the US. Over $1 billion worldwide collection. Half a million plus is already in the US. So Barbie is doing well. And of course, Gadar 2 did a really, really good business at the box office. Now Shah Rukh Khan is getting ready for his upcoming release, Jawan.
Yep.
And Jawan is hyped up really, really too much. And of course, SRK is going around in the country in India and letting people know to go and watch the movie. So movie has created hype. As a matter of fact, advance booking of this film, Jawan, is also at the record level, not only in India but US also.
Well, it's a good sign. I mean, if you go back, a lot of movies were not doing as well. Bollywood was struggling. Hollywood was struggling. It's good to see people coming out. It's good to see some of these movies doing that well. So I'm very happy for Gadar team. And there were a lot of good movies that came out, Barbie, and even the Indian movies that did very well in the recent past. So it's a good sign for the whole industry, the whole business.
We really need them, because all the theaters and everything, they suffered so much during COVID.
It's a whole industry around it.
It's a whole industry, right? Except stars. So they make so much money. So, all right, that's all we have for you. Once again, SAI CPA Services is proud to bring you this show, The Business Talk with Ajay, every week right here on ITV Gold. And when we meet again next week, we're going to have the recent and the more appropriate business stories for you in our show. Ajay, once again, thank you so very much.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, and I'm Sanjeev Pandya, wishing you all happy days ahead. September is here now. So let's enjoy it as much as we can. Until we meet again, take care of yourself. So long.
Thank you.